some positive news from Labour. You know, I'm feeling positive about Labour. I'm up and down with Labour, but this is one positive. West Streeting. West Street. Is it West? Is it West Streeting or West Street?
I think it's West Streeting.
West Streeting is banning puberty blockers for anybody under 18.
Yeah.
Now, you might shoot me down in flames here, Nick. I think that's quite positive.
It's excellent.
Oh,
yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah. My wife thinks 18 is still too young.
That's the legal age of an adult in this country, so it would be unfair and unreasonable to pick any other age.
I think you're probably right. And I also think by the time people get to 18, they're allowed to make more positive judgments around things like that. Or they're capable of making more positive judgments.
Yeah.
So that's a real positive. One of the real first positives I've seen coming out of Labour.
Yeah.
And why do you think they've done that? Given a year ago they were saying trans women, West Streeting was saying trans women are women, and there's 1,000 suicides a day of trans people, which of course there isn't. But
because they daren't say it a year ago, because they didn't want their party to implode, because they wanted to win the election. They've won the election now, and now they're thinking about, we want to win the next election. So we need to get to the centre ground. We need to stop some of this lunacy. We're going to have some of the lunacy to keep our far left lunatics happy-ish. They're never going to be happy. We've got to throw in some red meat here, but certain things we're going to have to push through. And I think that's one of the...
So they're kind of starting to pull themselves more towards the middle ground.
I think so, and I think it's easier for them because of the CAS review. That was the big government review that looked into all that, came out and said there's no evidence for any of this. So they're using the CAS review and saying, we've got evidence here now, no, this is what we're going to do.
Now there's another negative on this as well, which I think you're aware of. Labour are going to ban conversion therapy.
Yeah.
And I think if I can just take a moment to try and educate our viewers on this, because if our viewers are not as enmeshed in this as maybe Nick and I are, when you hear somebody say we're going to ban conversion therapy, you think that's fantastic, because of course conversion therapy in the 60s was, if you came in, Nick, and said I'm gay, we'll take a big stick to you and beat you until you say you're heterosexual again. Electric shock treatment and stuff like that. Yeah. Now this conversion therapy, which is why this is quite sinister, is very, very different. Yeah. If a kid at school says, if a gay kid at school says, I think I'm a woman, you are then not allowed to say to that child, no, you're not a woman, you're just gay. Yeah. Is that correct? Is that my interpretation is correct?
Yes. It's even worse than that.
Okay.
So if you're part of a church, and someone in church says, and you say, oh, I think I'm the opposite sex. If someone in church says, oh dear, I want to pray for you tonight, that is class conversion therapy as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can be arrested for that?
Well, it depends on legislation. But the lunatics are including praying for someone not to be trans, praying for someone not to be gay.
It's conversion therapy.
It's conversion therapy.
So it'll be illegal.
If all this gets put into the law, we have no that's in legislation yet. But it's not. So conversion therapy, people think, yes, you're gay, you're trans, we're going to get, mum and dad are going to get you in the room and we're going to beat you silly till you're not trans and you're not gay. That's been illegal for a long time because that's called assault.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't need extra laws for that. That's called assault.
Yeah.
What we're looking at now is even if you're a gay man and you are trying to get help to be straight, that will be illegal because that'll be conversion therapy. Even if you want to be straight, you're happy to be gay. If you're a trans woman and you decide this isn't going well for me, I'm sorry, I've done it. If you try to get help and someone then tries to help you, that would be classed as conversion therapy. This is an awful law.
This is horrific.
If it comes, I'm not sure.
Well, who's going to stop them? They've got a fight the majority.
They can, but we have other laws in this country. It has to get through Parliament. It has to get through the House of the Lords. There'll be precedents. People will take it to court. So, and we've not even seen legislation. The legislation might be so watered down that some of the things I've mentioned may not even be in this law. But that's what their far left people want to be in it. But having banned puberty blockers they've got to throw something to the far left, and it might be, this is what we're going to do.
You think this is just like a little thing, little snack to keep them quiet?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, quite interesting. You know, Calvin Robinson calls it the Lawrence Fox called it the transmutilation flag. You could also call it the gay extermination flag, couldn't you? The LGBTQ thing, because what they seem to be determined to do is get rid of gay people. The gay community, as I understand it, and I know you're more involved in that than I am. I wasn't suggesting you were gay. Not that there's anything wrong with you being gay, Nick, if that's the way. That's
a nice caveat there.
But I know you.
So I don't like this argument that gay people use, that this is eliminating gay people. Well, do you know what? Your sexuality, you don't have a right for your sexuality to exist or to carry on existing. And if trans takes over the whole gay community and there is no more gay and they're all trans, well, all those people made that decision. I find it doesn't sit well with me when gay people are saying this is anti-gay
because what they're saying is a perfectly happy gay child now, and the gay children do exist. You and I went to school with gay children, so we know this.
Or did we go to school with mentally ill children?
I'm sure there were some mentally ill children in my school, but I see you mean. Should they have been trans?
No. Should we treat gay people as mentally ill? Because
I think we've crossed that Rubicon, haven't we? That we crossed it about 40 years ago. So I don't think gay. There's a big difference between gay and trans.
Of course there is.
Because gay is a sexuality thing. So that is a man or a woman being attracted sexually to people of the same sex. Now, I can totally get that because sexual.
But we couldn't have got that 50 years ago.
No. But the trans thing is not about sexuality.
Oh no, it's not. No, it's not.
It's far more sinister than that. It's somebody believing they are something they are not. Their whole physical being we're talking about here. We're not talking about a mental attraction, sexual attraction. We're talking about somebody believing their body is wrong. It's nothing to do with sexuality, is it? You can have an asexual transvestite, transsexual. Can you say transvestite anymore?
Yeah. I mean, it's all extremely complicated. And I think the trans issue would have been accepted a lot better if it hadn't been for social media. So the gay movement took 30, 40 years. It was slowly. The change was very slowly. Trans hit us in 2014. Because of the internet and social media, it was all in our faces straight away, and there's been a big backlash to it. If there'd been no social media, the trans would have taken 30, 40 years, and it would have been slowly, and we all would have accepted it just like we did with homosexuality. But
what the gay community and the LGB Alliance, which I think you know of, and I've met the founders of that when I was actually at that London rally. The LGB Alliance and other similar groups of gay people are saying what is happening here is young people who are confused about their sexuality are now being told, you're not gay, you're trans, you want to be a woman. And that would be fine if they were then not sent down a path of chemical and physical mutilation of their bodies. I think a lot of the gay community wouldn't be that concerned about the trans thing if it didn't come with a whole bunch of physical mutilations, chemical mutilations of your body. Because that didn't happen with gay people, did it? If somebody at school said, I'm gay, they didn't suddenly go on a course of puberty blockers and things to convert them to emphasise their gayness, did they? They just started prancing around and going out with men, if they were men, obviously. So I think it's something. That's what the gay argument is about. It's not saying, oh, it doesn't matter if we're all trans. What they're saying is, in order to create this trans dream or whatever, you have to go through horrific procedures, both chemical and physical. That's what they're arguing about. So they're saying what's happening is perfectly healthy young gay men and women are ending up 10 years down the line with all sorts of mental, chemical impacts on their bodies and physical mutilations on their bodies, and suddenly realising 10 years later, actually, I'm just gay.
Yeah.
I think that's the point, isn't it?
I get their point, but everything we're saying about trans people now, in a certain aspect, we could have said about gay people 50 years ago. That it's a mental illness. We shouldn't let them be gay because we should convince them they're straight because gay isn't the way to go. And so we've had all these discussions before, and some gay people, and that's why some of the trans people hate other gay people, because they're saying to them, you've been through this. You got support when you were coming out as gay, and society changed for you. Why can't you change for us? So I know it's a different issue, but I can see both sides. I wrote an article and then I did a speech on it as well, where I wrote an article as if I was a trans supporter and put forward all their arguments, and I steelmanned their arguments as if I believed it. And when I wrote it,
what does that mean, steelman?
That means I did it so it couldn't be knocked down. So you can put, yeah. So I wanted it to be proper. And when I wrote that article, it changed my opinion of trans. And I saw the hypocrisy. I still think trans is wrong, and I can see but I wrote that article and I realised.
When did you write this article?
A year ago.
Right.
And I realised then there's a lot of hypocrisy against the trans movement, and they are being treated unfairly to a certain extent if we base it on the groups that have come before.
Yes, and I would understand that if there wasn't the chemical and physical mutilation involved in it.
That's the only slight difference.
Yeah.
And my conclusion to this article was, I'm still not a supporter of the trans.
Yeah.
But what we've done wrong is we've treated everyone who came before far too well and engaged what they wanted in, and what we need to do.
And we're paying the price for that.
And we're paying for the price of it now.
Yeah.
So lax is getting crazy. And along that line, people can point where they've had enough. Such as, lots of people now, trans is enough now. Oh, right. But it was okay when openly gay men can come in a toilet, in a urinal, and urinate next to me with our penises out. But that's acceptable. Yeah, I'm acceptable with that. We don't think about those things.
What's wrong with an openly gay man coming having a wee next to you?
Because a gay man is sexually attracted to other men. So a woman wouldn't want you next to her.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, you might not have a problem, but I'm just saying, and society hasn't got a problem with it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people can point on this line where all this has gone too far, and none of us ever hit the same point.
What I do have a problem with is gay men using public urinals as a place to have sex.
Yeah, cottaging.
Yeah, because it's a place to go and have a wee and a poo.
Yeah.
In fact, preferably a wee, because you don't
want to sit down in there, do you?
No.
Yeah.
You should always do your poos at home, ladies and gentlemen. But George Michael, when he was arrested in LA for cottaging, complained about it and then wrote a song saying, now, I found that offensive, because if I was in LA with my kids who were young then, and I went into a toilet for them to have a wee, I would be very angry if gay men were having sex in there or coming in there for sexual purposes. And George Michael was wrong with that.
Can you see how we keep pushing and pushing and and we end up with that?
Yeah.
Now, I'm all for the state leaving us alone. So I don't want homosexuality banned. I think we let people live the lives they want to live. If they make the wrong decisions, the wrong choices as adults, that's down to them. But society needs to come up with an agreed set of values and morals. Otherwise, we end up where we're at now, where anyone can do anything they want because it's down to me, and we've lost all that. And that's why we're heading now into this hedonism where anything goes. And
we talked about this, and the word I use time and time again is decorum.
Yeah.
We have lost the decorum that we used to have.
Yeah.
And I think you even see in restaurants now when people are in there with their kids. They allow the kids to run riot and make noise or whatever, kids screaming or whatever, often ruining an atmosphere in a restaurant, which is why I tend to go into restaurants after sort of 7 or 8 o'clock now, because I know there will be loads of kids in there.
There's a trend in America where rich people now fly in America, they buy first class tickets for themselves and have the kids sitting in economy.
That's fine, that is.
Well, it is if you're in first class. It's not if you're in economy and these unruly kids with no parents.
Oh,
around.
young kids, you mean? Sorry,
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers. I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.